Welcome back. I'm Jimmy C, host of the Instapreneur podcast, and today we have on a good longtime friend, Mr. Ryan Stern. Ryan, thanks for coming on. How are you, buddy?
Jimmy, it's a pleasure, man. We haven't seen or talked to each other in a bit, but I am super excited to get into this with you, man.
Dude, actually, yeah, speaking on that. So actually, the reason why Ryan's even on this podcast is I saw you post the other day about moving. Fuck, I forgot exactly.
Yeah, my 1 year. It was my 1 year on the dot. Yep.
So tell me, you moved to Texas. I forget.
Yeah, right now I'm in Austin, Texas. I was born and raised in Chicago, and on May 1st of last year, I quit my job and I moved to Austin, Texas. And so, yeah, I had just a little bit of a celebratory Instagram post that just that basically stated to people, in case you were interested, I'm actually very happy, and I made a great decision, which is cool.
No, but that's dope. But so correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you moved there not knowing anyone, right? Or you just kind of like,
I didn't know a single person.
You just got up and did it one day. Why? Work?
Yeah, well, I did, but it was a calculated move. So I'll try to give as short of a story as I can, but essentially, so I worked for yeah. Well, I worked out of college. I worked at a parking reservation startup called Spot Hero. Actually, you know all about
this. Dude, that was our baseball coach and the homie Jeremy started.
Yeah. So you know all about this. Jeremy started a company called Spot Hero. I was going to be a broadcast journalist. That's what I went to school for. I went to the University of Illinois. Great media program, good journalism, and that's after a basically failed Division I college soccer season. So that's in the whole nother ball game. But that's all part of the story, which I actually love.
It happened.
Yeah, man, I loved it. But yeah, so I was going to be a broadcast journalist, and then basically the summer going into my senior year, so pretty much the biggest internship year for me, I had been at ABC and ESPN the last 2 summers. So I was pretty much like on a lock to do it again. And then basically that was what I was hoping for employment. But I had a change of heart one afternoon after a class where somebody basically said, "Don't go into journalism," and listed a stated reasons why. And they kind of shook me enough that I basically called my boss for that summer and told him I wasn't going to take the internship, which was crazy because that summer was 2016 and it was ESPN covering the World Cup, which I was a soccer player. I was working for journalism like it was going to be a dream job. And I basically freaked out and said I wasn't going to take the internship. So the last person I called that night, because I was kind of freaking out, everybody else was telling me to call this guy back and tell him I was drunk or I made a prank call of some sort, and whatever. Jeremy was the last person I called, and we talked for a couple hours. But by the end of the conversation, which was just super inspiring, and it helped me kind of figure out where I was because I was very lost. Was he invited me to come out to Chicago to check out 1871 and a couple other startups that had just started in the area, and then finish the day at the company that he had started, Spot Heroes. And one thing led to another, and then I interned there and then ended up getting a full-time job out of college. So I was doing really well there. I was 3 years in, and I was basically in charge of a product that was going to bring in $16 million this year. I grew it from 1 million to 16 in 3 years. So I was pretty happy about that and doing pretty well. So I could have stayed there, but the 2 summers before, or 2 winters before, my aunt and uncle have a cabin up in Wisconsin, in Green Lake, Wisconsin, and in the wintertime, no one's up there. So I decided 3 years ago, like in mid-January, I was going to take like a 5 to 10 day trip by myself to this cabin. Bring books, bring music, bring drugs, just get into a place where I could kind of, one, reset and cleanse, but also do some real good thinking, some real good learning, and some good planning. And one of the things that I left, I lasted 7 days. And one of the things that I left with in terms of my mind was that upcoming summer was going to be the last summer in Chicago for me. So that was interesting. So that was kind of cool, because then the next year, this is 2017 to early 2018, for work, because my company was, my product was national, and we had offices in New York and San Francisco. So I traveled there for the first time, New York and San Francisco, San Diego, Seattle, Austin, Not all for work, but most or some of it for work. So I got to kind of work, travel for work and then get to kind of explore the city. So that whole year I kind of just tested out the US. And then the following
work,
year,
you were traveling for work, not just for fun.
no, I was traveling for work, but I would do the work and then I'd spend time and try to get to know the city to figure out if this is a place I want to move to.
Got you.
Which was an awesome experience. I got to see a lot of really awesome places. And I fell in love with California. So that was really cool. Which I don't know if you've been, but it's
dude,
really easy to fall in love with.
I was actually on, this dude comes on every he comes up on every podcast, but I was on Mario Fabri's cooking show and we made some dog treats.
Nice.
It hasn't aired yet. I don't know what's going on, if that's going to air or not, but yeah, dude, moral of the story is I was out there for like 4 days, dude. It was dope. Fell in love with it too.
Isn't it beautiful?
LA's
man. Yeah. LA's tough. It's a different beast. But yeah, so yeah, I got to travel, went back the following winter to work on a bunch of shit because I kind of knew what I was doing at this point. I did a 3-day fast. It was just like, it was a crazy, just like experience. But I was basically, all right, a year later, I set this intention that this next summer was going to be my last summer, but I haven't made any decisions. So I wasn't going to leave there until I made a decision. So I worked almost like an entire day to really decide, am I going to move? Yes. Where am I going to move? And it was basically all of California was up for the running, Denver and Seattle. And I basically just kind of made like pros and cons list as to why. And
so this was all,
ended up winning out.
This was while you're at the lake house?
Yep.
Oh.
This was like January of 2018.
Yeah.
This is my second time doing it. All by myself, no phone, no computer, just like myself and whatnot. And so, so I decided Austin. Then I needed to decide, is it going to be with Spot Hero? And that one took me like a whole day too to figure out, because I knew I could move anywhere in the country and do my job. So it was a big decision. So I ended up saying no to that. And then I was like, wow, okay. So my lease is up in May and I'm going to work for the next 5 months for this company. And then I'm not going to work for them anymore. And then we'll see what happens. I'm just going to move. I chose Austin partially because I didn't know anybody. I wanted to build from 0 to 1. And I wanted to really, really challenge myself and prove to myself that I could take on something like this and make it happen. And so, yeah, I wanted to really kind of put myself in a difficult situation, but also, the reasons I chose Austin, I knew it was going to be a place where I wasn't going to have a tremendously tough time making friends or meeting people.
Yeah.
So, sorry. Long story short, now I'm in Austin, Texas, and it was 1 year later.
Dude, that's dope. So I don't think I told you this before we went live, but I did this, well, not the same, but a similar thing. Like I went on a spring break vacation. I'm not even going to think about what year it was, but I went on a spring break vacation with Brian Senft, and just him and I, and we went to Cabo. Within 10 minutes of being there, I ran into Adam Rubin. You remember Adam Rubin?
Nice.
So I ran into Adam Rubin, and he's like, Jimmy? I'm like, Ruben? Like, it was fucking weird, man. Yeah. And so anyways, I hung out with him.
Love Ruben, by the way.
Oh, yeah, he's a great dude. I ran into him and then I met all his frat bros and like sorority sisters. So anyways, so yeah, we went with 2 people, myself and Ryan, and we ended up having like 30 people on our squad. It was great. But not only that, they went to CSU, Colorado State, and that's where I wanted to go. So I was like, well, shit, bro. Like, I applied there after this trip. I didn't get in. And at that point, I was 21, and now we're 26. I didn't want to wait another year to go to school. So I applied to a school that Kyle Furness's little brother went to. And I got in, and I just moved there. I never visited. I moved on like a month or 3 weeks notice. So I did the same thing, man. Like, crazy. But
love it.
Super, like, definitely, I guess I didn't think of it this way at the time, but like you just said, like, it was for sure challenging, man. I knew no one. And like certain people didn't accept you right away. And I made a lot of friends through the gym because we'd hoop every day, and it was really competitive.
So what year were you at that point in terms of like going to school?
When did
I feel like that also plays Yeah, like when you got there, like what year were you?
Oh, what year was I? Yeah, that was a huge part in it. So when I got there, I was technically in the middle of a sophomore and junior year. So like kind of like
Okay.
a little more than a sophomore. So that's what made it hard because I transferred there and I pulled some
Yep.
strings to get into the good dorms with my friend, well, with my now friends because
Yeah.
Kyle's brother told me about it. But so I pulled some strings. I got to move in there. I actually, for anyone listening who wants to learn how to make moves, I told them, I was like, at that point I was 21. I don't want to, they had me in the freshman dorms. I was like, I ain't sharing a bathroom with 30 other dudes, bro. So
Yeah.
I pulled some strings and talked to some people and was nice to people. And I got into the good dorms. But yeah, that played a huge factor because all the people I lived with, a lot of them were sophomores, but they were 18 or 19 and I was 21.
Hmm.
So it was hard because everyone already had their group of friends and I was like
Yep.
the new guy, you know. But
Yep. I get it.
I talk about it in a different podcast, but it was weird, man. And in my school, Native Americans get free tuition. So there's a lot of Native Americans, and being from where we're from, it's mostly white people here. So like
Hmm.
it totally that made me think of life differently too because I was like a minority for a while. And yeah, dude, it was weird. I like wasn't accepted at first and crazy, dude. Like just made me
Hmm.
learn a lot. It made me look at life differently. A lot of my like now good friends, like they don't understand sarcasm. So like one of my classic examples is like one of my buddies, Forrest, we're playing beer pong. Dude, he actually kind of looks like you. But he was undefeated and he was being cocky and I come on and he made some comment and I'm like, well, I'm about to knock you off, fucker. And he got all like mad at me. And I'm like, bro, like, I'm just being sarcastic. Like, I'm just kidding. That's like
Yeah.
how I joke. But I learned a lot. Like, they're all from Alaska. So a lot of these guys, they didn't grow up in the same, cultures. It's different. So I never
Oh
realized
yeah.
based on where you're
That's huge
from.
though. Yeah. Very, it's important to get like that perspective. Cause yeah, we went a long time without being, introduced to a lot of life. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Is people who don't know, we kind of call it the bubble here. But,
Yeah.
dude, no. So one of my, greatest pieces of advice that I received from someone was by one of my buddies who works at Google, and he's older. He's probably like around Jeremy's age, and he told me he was like, move to as many cities as you can while you're young, or just in general, but while you're young, and just do it. Like he went to Nashville, and then he was in San Fran, and I think he's still in San Fran now with Google. But yeah, so I took that to heart when my decision came because I was like, dude, like I listen to smart people. If you don't, like,
Hmm.
I learned from smart people. So yeah, dude, I did that and it was dope. So that's
I
cool.
love it.
Yeah,
Hell yeah, man. We got a lot of similarities, bro.
it's crazy. We haven't talked to each other for a while. But one thing we were talking about when we were catching up before we kind of went on air was mindset. So I love talking about mindset. So obviously we haven't talked for a while, but I go out, dude, and I'll talk about this shit for hours. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know how people talk at the bars about the little shit. I can't do it. I rather talk about like this stuff. But
Yep.
um, so you mentioned something about my mindset, and my mindset. I've totally changed it. Actually, shit. Did you know that I got into a car accident and I almost died? Did you see that? I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I did. Yes.
Yeah. So
Dude,
that
jeez.
that almost.
Well, yeah. Damn, man. I'm sorry. I'm
No, I guess I
sorry.
shouldn't say almost died because I just got a cut on my elbow, but I should be dead just based on the
Yeah,
occurrence.
yeah.
But dude, yeah. So for that, I was my grandmother passed away, so I came back here at Chicago for the funeral. Flew back out Monday night, October like 17th, and football game was on. I wanted to get home to watch the football game. Long story short, I looked away from my car. I looked up. There's a deer, and I swerved to avoid it. I didn't hit it, but I flipped my car going like 85 or 90. And I wasn't wearing
Whoa.
a seatbelt. I thought I was dead, to be honest. Then I was upside down, like sparks were going everywhere and shit. But anyways, my car got totaled. I came out with just a cut right here, dude.
No
I'll never forget
way.
this, man. It's like a movie. The people who walked out, because I was the first one off the airplane, so there was like 20 or 30 cars behind me. It's like a one-way in and out, and of the airport. So these guys came up and like, you know, like in like movies, like that weird look on their face. Like they totally thought I was dead. And they said, "Where's the guy who got in the accident?" I'm like, "Me." And
Wow.
yeah, it was crazy. But anyways, talking about mindset, that changed my mindset because that next morning I woke up and just looked up for hours, man. I was just like,
Were you conscious the whole time?
yeah, dude, remember every second of it. I didn't black out or nothing.
Wow. Dude,
Yeah.
someone's looking out for you.
Well, my grandmother had passed away, you know,
Oh
within a
my
week
God.
prior. And
Were you guys close?
oh yeah, well, yeah. And that was my grandfather's car. So that was my grandfather passed away the year we went to Cooperstown. So that summer. And she passed away 2 years ago this October, or 3 years ago this coming up October. So whatever that puts us at. But yeah, dude. So like looking back, it was like, holy fuck, dude. Like that was the last piece of them. Like they were both gone. And it was like that was the last piece of them. And then like now my car was gone. So it's like I didn't think of this until recently, but it was crazy.
Oh yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I would be very surprised if they weren't involved in keeping you alive. That's pretty amazing.
Dude, and I was never super like into things like that, but now it's shifted. But anyways, how that changed
Yeah.
my mindset, dude. I woke up and I was like, and that was October. I graduated in December. So I was like chilling. I had two or three classes, like an independent study where my teacher just hooked it up because he was on sabbatical. So I just like did nothing essentially and got a very good grade on the final. It was like chilling. So it made me realize how you could go from like very good to very bad real quick. It also made me realize like not that I was fucking around because I've always been like business orientated, but made me realize like don't fuck around because like anything could happen at any time. And I literally I say it, I was like anything could happen at any time, and I got to do what I want to do when I want to do it because I ain't trying to be 80 and be like, I wish I did that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But
Yep.
yeah, dude, for months, like I'd wake up and just be like, holy shit, like I'm alive. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. So that
Wow.
changed my mindset as far as like you got to do what you want and stuff. And
Now, when you say that though, oh shit, still with me?
you're good. Yep.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
We took a tumble. All right, we're back. You say it changed your mindset. Was your mindset like totally different before then, or was it pretty similar and this just solidified it, or were you like a totally different person?
I would say it solidified it, but if you look at where I am now and where I was then, I would say are you still there? Oh, you still there? I would say
Yep. Sorry.
if you look at me now and compared to then, I'm a totally different. I'm a different person for sure. But that in my how I look at it is that was like my grandparents telling me like, don't fuck around. Like you're here for a reason. And for me, I think that reason is to train dogs or help other people. Like with this. So afterwards, I look back and I connect dots. But
Yep.
it definitely changed my mindset as far as, I don't know what would have happened if this didn't happen because I don't know what I would have done. Like my mindset was like, I want to start businesses. And being 24 at the time, it's like, you got to change a lot of shit that I used to do what I want to do. I mean, it's 9:45 right now. We both worked the full day and now we're on a podcast. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't go out and drink after work. I know I'm having a sip of beer right now, but that's like a very rare occasion. But yeah, so it's like a lot of shifts, a lot of how I think. I don't want to say I was negative, but I was definitely more negative in the past. And talking about like how we were talking about before, like rewiring my mind. It's
Yep.
I don't hang out with as many negative people or around as many negative situations because I became aware of how that affects you. But I guess I've been talking a lot, so I'll ask you, like,
No, all good stuff, man. I'm vibing with everything you're saying.
what's your view on the whole mindset train, or what have you noticed, or talk about what you think about it?
Yeah. Well, no, you touched on a lot of points that I definitely appreciate. I've always been kind of fascinated by like the Buddhist way of looking at things, or I think like Stoicism really hit me pretty good a couple of years ago. Just the idea in general, and I started reading a lot of books by Stoics or people who talk about like
I don't even
Stoicism.
know much about that. What is that? Stoic.
Yeah, so basically Stoicism is kind of this. It's kind of like a mindset. It's kind of like a frame of mind in terms of kind of taking ownership and being minimalist, and like Marcus Aurelius, like the famous Roman emperor. He is one of the most famous Stoics out there. And so if you ever like read any of his quotes, they're kind of always just about kind of the material world, being present, being mindful. Yeah, just a very interesting way of kind of looking at things, and it really resonated with me. So yeah, I don't know. I think
It's dope. That's dope.
I've kind of equated my success. Well, the two things for a long time that got me to where I am today were patience and fortitude. And so those were kind of two pillars that my uncle kind of bestowed upon me, and they kind of guided me to everything. But similarly to you, my mom passed away when we were seniors in high school. And I felt like after she died, my entire life has gone like a different direction in like a really positive way. So a lot of similarities to just kind of the shift.
Right.
And I do the same thing. I often look back and just wonder, like, what if things had turned out differently? My hope is that this is my destiny and this is who I'm supposed to be. So I would have gotten here anyway, but it's just how things work to kind of guide you in that place. But yeah, so.
Wait, I'm going to stop you there. Remember what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm a firm believer, and I don't know if you listened to the last podcast I did with Jillian, but if you didn't, you should check it out because she's fucking dope. And we talk about a lot of this stuff, so I think you'd like her. But she's a big advocate, and I met her in LA last year. So I've only known her for a year, but we're very good friends because of this. And she tells me all the time, like, things happen for a reason. Like the thing I was telling you before about the podcast, or before we went live about, the girl situation, like because of everything, it helped me to be where I am right now. So where I'm tying in from me to you is like for my car accident, like if that didn't happen, my life would be totally different. If your mom passed away, I know, I mean, maybe you think differently, but in my mind, it's like things happen for a reason.
No. Yeah. I totally agree. And it's been a process. I didn't always think like this, but I've definitely come more to grips with that in the last year or 2 years. Or as I would call probably the last 3 or 4 years, I've been kind of on like a spiritual journey. And yeah, so patience and fortitude, it kind of, I love the play that they're kind of opposites, but they're also intertwined. So kind of generously.
I'm listening. I'm just grabbing my water.
Gotcha.
I'm listening.
Yeah. So patience being this idea, that you just have to basically trust. You have to trust time and
trust the process.
Yep. Trust the process, trust the journey. Yep. That's kind of the patience part, but fortitude is kind of this other level where you're just always constantly, pushing forward. So I actually have a tattoo of it, on my inner bicep, but it's, if you can talk, maybe hard to see, but
yeah,
it's a clock with waves crashing into it.
Okay.
So it's this idea of, patience is the timepiece and the waves are fortitude. It's kind of like the smoothest rock in the river, in the river basin has been pounded constantly for millions of years by water and shaped into the beautiful sculpture that, so I love that idea.
No, I like that, dude.
And it's evolved. It's actually evolved since I moved to Austin. So like I said, I didn't know anybody here. I didn't have a place to live and I didn't have a job. And so the fact that I'm like, what I would qualify as I had a pretty successful fucking year in terms of getting to where I want to go. Like I've had to like expand that, and basically it's turned into the universe and hard work. And so the universe, what I would basically, it comes down to two like main things. You can't control what you can't control, and you can control what you can control.
I fuck with it.
And Yep. And so the universe is what I would call like the you can't control what you can't control. If you think about why you, me, anybody else has depression or anxiety, it almost always comes to an imagined place. Either we're living in the past or we're thinking about the future. We're depressed if we're thinking in the past, or we're anxious if we're thinking about the future. And a lot of the things that we're anxious about are things we can't control, like other people's ways of reacting to us, or conversations we're going to have, or outcomes of the day, like whatever. We can try to put ourselves in great positions, but we can't control a lot of things. We can't control gravity, you know, those things, right? So if you spend any of your mental time or energy focusing on the things you can't control, to me, I'm a problem solver. I like to think like, if you don't like something, change it, right? So it's the same thing. If you're yeah, right. So if you're thinking about things you can't control, to me, it's a waste of mental time and space. So get rid of it. So that's the idea of trusting the universe. In this case, what I believe the universe is just like our soul. It's like if you've ever felt like you're like soulmates with somebody, or you're really vibing with someone, so you're kind of like speaking like on the same frequency or vibration. Like I just believe in like like atomic or that kind of world.
No, I do.
That's what I mean by the universe. That's what I mean by the universe, right? Our thoughts are very, very powerful. Our thoughts can change our bodies. Our thoughts can do a lot of beautiful things. And so trusting that something bigger than us, if you want it to be your religion, if whatever you want it to be, but something bigger than us, like you said, everything happens for a reason. We're all intertwined in some way. It can be a beautiful story if you want it to be. But on the other side is hard work. And hard work, I was very lucky that I got to learn. I worked almost every summer growing up. I had an internship every summer in college. I landscaped for 3 years. I worked at a startup that didn't know if they were going to exist the next week. So you just had to work extremely, extremely, extremely hard. So I was just lucky that I developed what I would call a pretty decent work ethic. And that's good. Like you know, Jimmy, like you could get pretty far in life if you're like a hard worker. Yep. And that's like, you know, especially if you're like a specialist at something and you're a hard worker, that can get you pretty far. But I also think there's another layer to that there's 3 more layers. The other layer is just showing up. Like, I think it's one thing if you're like a hard worker, but if you don't show up, if you don't go to work, or you don't take on that new responsibility or whatever, you don't show up every morning, like then it's not going to amount to much.
There. Like
yep,
you're there.
Exactly. So the first step, you got to show up. Second step, you got to be a fucking extremely hard worker. You got to work harder than everybody else. You have to work harder than everybody else. I don't care how smart you are or how easy you got it, whatever. You should have that desire to work harder than everybody else. And then the last layer that I identified. Yeah, man, absolutely. What I determined in Austin is the last layer to that is the ability to observe the field for opportunities. And then not only that, but have the courage to take on those opportunities. Right. So that one's really important, right? Like I would pose this on you right now to think about, to ponder as you're in your position. It seems like it's a pretty bright future in terms of the knowledge that you're gaining and your potential ability to start your own business and really build something really special. Think about, are you actually looking and listening for opportunities, or are you not? Right? And that's a huge thing. A lot of people.
Am I what?
Because are you looking or listening for opportunities?
Oh, yeah.
Right? And like, so basically, like if there was a road that you're driving down, that's your life. Every so often there might be like a signpost that says opportunity here, you know, like pull off. Like I feel like a lot of people are just driving, like looking straight.
Right. They're not looking.
Yeah. Yep. It's comfortable. It's easy. It's too old. I'm too old to do this now. My body won't do it for me anymore. There's so many excuses we give ourselves, but you got to be able to look on both sides of the road. And there are opportunities that are constantly popping up. Very, very few opportunities come as in the form of like your mentor coming to you and saying, Jimmy, I want to train you one-on-one. Will you accept?
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's a pretty smack in the face, like awesome opportunity, right? But other ones, you have to seek it out. Like you said, like you sought out this opportunity, you saw it as something, and you worked really hard to achieve it. And now you're learning from the best fucking dog trainer in the world. So that's that next skill.
One thing I was going to say, touching on that, and then I don't want to cut you off, but otherwise I'm going to forget, is like, I'm a fan or a big believer of like, when you work hard, like you're saying, like things like
Yep.
this happen. So for me, like I've been working my ass off.
Yeah.
I help a lot of people. Like I don't charge people for certain things at times, whatever. And I'm a firm believer of like, I'm putting out all this good. I'm helping out him, her. And then eventually something's going to happen to me.
Karma.
So karma.
Karma.
Yeah, that's a short way to say it. So for me, like getting hooked up with my mentor is like, to me, I look at it as like, you know, it's coming back. Like he's a great dude. He likes to help people out too. He's literally like me in an older version, if I look at
Yeah.
myself. And it's crazy
Yeah.
because that's how I'm like, well, damn, like I've been helping him and her. And then now this is like you said, like a 1 in a million shot just falls in my lap. And it's like,
Yep.
oh, I got to catch this one, you know? But yeah.
But that's huge. That's huge, dude. You're doing it the right way. You're doing it the right way. You're putting in the work. And that's the other side, right? The left side is universe. You can't control what you can't control. The right side is hard work. And if you can control what you can control. So you better fucking control it. You know, like if you're gonna do your job, like be unbelievable at it. Have fun at it. Like if you're gonna live life, like fucking live it hard. Like control those things you can control to the fullest extent. And that's exactly what we're talking about. Because if you are in control of that side, then and you trust the universe, then fuck, man. That's the outcome. Is exactly shit happens. Your life is gonna take off. You're gonna feel better. You're gonna look better. You're gonna live better. Like you're gonna have better opportunities. It's gonna be more, and it's more exciting.
It's crazy.
More exciting.
Talking about feeling better though, dude. I want to touch on how you said your thoughts can change things. So recently, I've like literally, like really recently, I came to the conclusion. And I don't know, this might like blow people's minds, get you to think a lot. So sorry, but we need that. But dude, like everything is in here. You know what I mean? So like what I mean by that is like people will say, I can't do this. I can't. Actually, I'm going to give you an example. I'm at the gym and I know this guy and he's older, dude. He's in his 30s and he's benching 135. Okay. And he's using wrist wraps. And I'm like, why are you using wrist wraps? He's like, because this is heavyweight. I said, forget his name. I'm like, that's not fucking heavyweight. Dude. It's 135. He's like, for me, that's heavy, or 145. He's like, for me, that's heavyweight. I'm like, I didn't say this to him because I don't know him on this level, but I'm like, this is what the problem in our world. People like have this mindset of like, I can't, where it's like, just fucking tell yourself you can, because you can. So like, another thing that I got from the gym was if I don't have a spotter, this one dude, he did it. I spotted him once doing heavyweight, and he literally told himself, he's like, don't be a fucking bitch. I'm like, who is this guy, dude? But I'm not going to lie. I do that at times. Like when I'm by myself and I'm lifting heavyweight and I don't have a spotter, I tell myself that. And I'm like, you can't fail, dude, because no one's here to help you. So you got to do it. And I've never failed. So it's all in here. And just like anything, like you were saying about being happier, it's like the whole universe thing. What is it? What you can't control. Like you're going to deal with people that you can't control them, right? So like I was telling a good friend this the other day because she got really ticked off at something. And I said, listen, I said, just relax. Take a deep breath. Like you're so tense right now. And she kind of got a little annoyed at me at first, but we're like homies, so it calmed down. And I'm like, listen, like you overreact. And she's a dog trainer too. And I'm like, especially in training, you got to be patient. You can't freak out. You got to chill because you're dealing with an animal. They don't know what the hell you're doing. You got to teach them. And I was telling her, I'm like, I gave her the example of, I don't know how many seconds are exactly in a day, but it's like if you have $86,000 and you lose 10, like if it just blew out the window, would you be mad? If you had 86,000, no. Okay. So the concept is that's about how many seconds are in a day. So if you lose 10 seconds to someone, like don't let it ruin your day because it's nothing. And that's something that I live that partially helped me change my mindset when I first started doing what I'm doing. But I see so many people that get ticked off. Like the other day, I'm turning left into my house and this lady's like 50 yards away from me. It's not even close. And she's like wailing on the horn, like going like this. And I just waved at her, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I know.
It's crazy.
Yeah. People, that's actually that's an area that I'm just trying to help people with. So I want to help just people like so actually I would actually pose this on you. I feel like instead of like relax, if you were to either tell yourself to relax, tell somebody else, The word of either let it go or let go.
Right.
I like let go even more. And that's actually been huge for me, because that's a huge thing that I've had to work on, both like physically and also just like, I guess, like emotionally, I guess. But the idea of just let go.
Yeah, that's a
and
better
again, that goes back. Yeah. But no, so that's what I mean is I very much appreciate that mindset. And I hope more people can get to it.
Yeah, man, that's why I'm doing this. I'm trying to help people too, you know, like it's fun to talk,
I dig it.
but at the same time, it's like people, what I've noticed is people do not have, and we talk about this with Jillian too, but on the last podcast, but people don't have the courage or whatever to do these things. So they need people that do them to like model like what they should do. I don't know if that makes, I don't know how to say it, but like to more people, like if they see me doing it or you doing it, they're like, oh, well, I might try it. You know what I mean? You're not going to change anything, but like if you just keep doing it and you don't give a shit and you just literally keep throwing it out there and tell them and just lead by example, eventually people just hop on board.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And that's actually, so like the two things for me is like being truth and like the truth and honesty is a huge component. Because like if you don't ask yourself the tough questions and you don't have the courage to answer them, then you're going to be very stuck and you're going to be in a very like comfortable like loop. So you got to just fucking like seek like the truth. And that's like, for me, I'd say it's easy for me, because like I said, I'm a problem solver. So like a lot of the work I would do when I'd go up in the cabin in Wisconsin is kind of try to get to the root cause of a problem. I hate going after symptoms. I hate our healthcare system, all that bullshit, going after symptoms. I'd rather you go to the root and fix it. So for me, it's like, why would I just want to like get a quick fix if I can actually, you know, rip it out all the way, rip the entire weed out? No,
that's the way to do it.
So yeah. So it's like, just having that ability to get to the root cause of the problem. Sorry, I just got off on the tangent there and I forgot where we were going, but
I don't know where we're going either. It doesn't matter. Just go.
Yeah.
Unless you want
sorry. No.
Mindset and letting it go, and people relaxing and more people learning how to.
Okay. So having the ability to be honest. Thank you. So having the ability to be honest with yourself, but also that it's actually, like I said, it's more fun on this area, on this like side of things. Like the way that I've visualized it is, imagine there's like a giant like cliff, and off the cliff is like just the ocean. It's like the endless ocean, and the whole population is like is kind of like close to the cliff, like all the whole group of people, just distill it down to 100 people for the whole world. Like most people are about 100 yards from the edge of the cliff, like 100 yards inland. Like they're pretty far in. They can kind of see that it's there, but barely see it. And then a very small population is actually, then there's a giant fence next to them, so you can't even like get over there, right? People are inland. There's a giant fence, like wall next to it. And then on the other side of the wall, closer to the edge, there's a smaller group of people. And those are the people that I feel like are seeking out life, like living life really hard, like living it with enjoyment, seeking out their purpose, you know, just like living a beautiful life. And success, and not in a way of just financials, but like in every aspect of your life. Those are the people that are over there. And maybe they're like 10 feet from the cliff, because that's just like where danger is. Like the idea of being vulnerable. People think of that as like such a dangerous place. And I actually seek out being vulnerable.
I embrace that shit, bro.
Yeah, man, because that's where you see, like, that's where like the excitement of life is. Like, think like the easiest way, like it works for me, is I always thought about when I used to ask girls out. Like I'd always be like, you know, like talking to myself, like, no, it's out of your league, whatever. Just like totally just like giving myself every reason not to do it. Then I'd whip up the courage. I'd buy her a beer. I'd ask her out, whatever it was. And she'd say yes. And it'd be like, not every time, but some of the times she'd say yes. And it'd just be like, whew, and I'd just be like, that was awesome. Like what a beautiful feeling. Now I'm gonna go on a date with this hot girl. And but before that I was so vulnerable. I was so scared. It's like to me that is exciting. Like no, but that's a level of excitement I like.
That teaches you a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Because I'm in that same situation. I was at my school and there's this girl that I met and like she was super cool, whatever. and we just like briefly talked. And then I went back. She actually worked at the gym, and then I was just there before. I was there for a business trip, but then I went back and I was like, but the first day I pushed out on like asking her like to go out kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the next day I told myself, I'm like, you got to do it. And it wasn't so much to actually like, yeah, she was cool. I wanted to like hang out with her, but it wasn't so much that. It was getting over that fence you're talking about, dude. Like I needed,
Yep.
you know what I mean? It was a mental barrier. And Tim Ferriss talks about that in one of his books is go up to people like that and just ask for their number to get over the hump, because then next time it's not going to be as hard. And this, for people listening who are like, well, I have a wife or boyfriend or girlfriend. Like it doesn't have to be like just a relationship
You
thing.
just gotta,
It's in business, dude. It's anything. Ask for the sale.
Find a place that you're fearful of and seek it out. Like
Crazy.
use that. I like the idea that people run from fear, but a pretty cool just like shift is find the areas in life you're most fearful of and use that as a compass.
No, yeah, dude. Like for me,
and that's the area you're gonna find the most growth and like live it up, baby. Like that's the place to go.
Do you know who David Goggins is? Have you seen his podcast with Rogan?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, that guy changed my life. So I used to hate running.
Yeah.
I never run long. I could sprint for days, but because of him, I started running long distance. And we'd go to Techni, and the goal was to run one lap without stopping, because I'd always stop. And the first time I did it, I ran 2. So then it was a habit where I'd run 2. Now I know that's only like 2 miles or whatever. It's not that far, but to me that was far because I don't run long distance.
Yeah.
So then Wade, you remember Wade Thacker? So Wade and I, I'm like, dude, let's go on a fucking run, man. Like, let's go. Cause he's on this whole thing too of improving. So we decided to do it. And the goal was run 2 laps. We ran 4. Dude, I didn't even realize that's like 6 miles. So like, I literally went to the gym after to stretch, and I ran into Patrick Scanlon, and he's like, dude, that's like 6 miles, dude. And we're like, fuck. Well,
yeah,
dope, because I went into this like, and now I like it. So it's like when you tackle, another thing I did, putting myself in uncomfortable situations and getting over them. So same kind of thing. Like I went to a yoga class, dude, and I felt so weird because I was like one of the only, well, actually there's other dudes there, but I thought I was going to be the only dude, and everyone's going to be looking at me, a bunch of like hot chicks, and I'm just like, this and
horrible situation.
Horrible. No, but it's, you know what, but in your head, you're like, fuck. And, I mean, I've only gone to yoga twice, but it was dope. Like I felt so good after and whatever. So I'm trying to put myself in these weird spots and get over them.
I like it, man.
Cool
yeah.
shit.
It's exciting. And that's what I would just say is like, just find something easy to start with, something that you're afraid to do, and just give it a shot. And like you said, and what David Goggins calls it, mental calluses, right? Like think about if you lift weights for a week, you're going to have calluses on your hands. It's the same thing. And if you challenge yourself and face vulnerability, your mind is literally, like you say, it's going to rewire itself. And that's the beautiful thing. And one thing I'll leave that off with, and then we can talk about something else. But there's been a couple studies that have been done essentially where you have people who have plants, right? You have one group that on the plants, like a plant.
Okay.
And their job is to like take care of the plant. And they have one set of the groups is just the control group. It's just a bunch of just a regular group of people. And the other group is manic depressives. Folks who are deep into depression. And the idea is that they water them every day, and then after like 2 weeks or something, they compare all of the plants. And in the end, the group, the random group of folks, their plants grew up and were healthy plants. And the other group, the depressed group, that group, the plants either died or they actually grew like downwards, like away, which is not like a natural way. And so basically it's this idea that the people behind it, I think they had to like hold on to their water. They had to hold on to like a glass of water for like a minute or something before they poured it in. So basically their thoughts were like imprinted into the water, and then the water into the soil, into the plants, and then the plants, right? And there's been other studies like that.
The positive people did that?
Both.
Both.
Both sides did it. So, and there's been other studies to like articulate this as well, but the idea is our thoughts can manipulate water. Like they can, it's not like water's happy or sad, but like basically our thoughts can like be like transferred into, it's all energy. So it's just a different form of energy and it's transferred into it. And we humans are made of 70% water.
Yep. That's why I need to drink more right now.
Yeah, well, that's why you got to drink more water. But also, like, think about that. If your thoughts can change a glass of water, think about what your thoughts can do to your body. Like, imagine if you're injured or overweight or all these things. Like these negative loop patterns that we've developed for ourselves are keeping us sick or injured or hurt or the victim or whatever. But if you change your mindset, you literally can change your physiology. You can change your whole way of being. It's pretty beautiful.
Amen, dude. We're going to end on that. I'm just kidding. Yeah, dude. Like, no, that's crazy because I'm a firm believer of that too. And I see a lot of people, friends, whatever. A big thing that I see is like people who are like, I got a headache, dude. Give me an Advil or Relief. I'm like, you don't need that, bro. Just go chug water. Go get some fresh orange juice. But we've been programmed to take meds and do this and do that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm sick. Like I have this wrong with me or that. It's like, whereas I don't get sick much, knock on wood. But like today, dude, I told you I felt tired. Now I'm like, I don't know. You just got me going. But I was like,
you want to hear a crazy thing? So May 1st, that was my first year. That was my 1 year in Austin. Ironically, that was also the first. May 1st, 2018 is when I left my job and ended my health insurance. May 1st of 2019 was when I first got health insurance. So I went an entire year without health insurance. And I'm not saying that like, oh, look at me, like how cool is that? My point is everything you just talked about. Like I live I would call it a pretty healthy lifestyle. And I mean, I'm 26 years old. So I'm eating okay and not drinking a ton and having a good time, but not putting myself in these like tough positions or taking a bunch of meds or whatever. And I'm just very lucky. Like I didn't need health insurance for a full year. I also didn't have full-time employment. That was really the reason why, for the majority of that, but it finally kicked in May. So, kind of just crazy. Like you said, how, if you just do the right things, you can actually you can go without things like health insurance. Not saying it's for everybody.
We're not advising
I'm not advising that at all. But my point is, I have another friend who moved to Austin and is working at the same company as I am, but he moved. Basically, he was only off because he was still on his parents' health insurance. But then he hit 26 and he couldn't be on it anymore. But he was freaking out because he's a little bit more of an anxious person, self-admitted too. I'm not calling him out. Even going without a day of health insurance, just like the what ifs, and just we're so programmed that like something bad's going to happen, therefore you should have insurance or you should whatever. Not just trying to totally shit on insurance, but my point is I don't have those same thoughts.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm going to try to just put myself in a good position. And if something bad happens, then I'll probably be fucked for it. But just try not to let that happen. And a couple drunken scooter ride falls, but nothing broken. And here we are, a year later. And that mindset and that lifestyle can really help.
No, for sure, dude. It's crazy how like even just getting over things, like getting over illnesses, like when you have a cold, like I know a few people that are very negative, and when they're sick all the time. They don't realize why, but I know why. But and there's a lot of people too, like that don't understand this whole like energy thing. Like they think you talk about it and you're just like, whoa, they're fucking weird. Because I used to think that until the last like year or so.
Oh, I get it.
No, but it's crazy.
I get it. And
like the fact that you and I are on a podcast right now and you're in Texas and I'm here is like insane. You know what I mean? Like if you think of it from the very fundamentals of what life is, like you got fucking weird things in your ears. You know what I mean? Like you can hear me through them. Like it's crazy. Like wild.
Yep. We're looking at each other. Yep. I know. It's just we're information sent to a satellite and back down and transmitted in real time. So if information can travel through that, why can't like thoughts change things? And so I agree.
Crazy stuff. All right. Well, maybe we'll go to a new topic. You were so wait.
Yeah.
What do you exactly do for work? You work at On It.
So
On
I
that
work at
Joe
On It.
Rogan. Joe
Yeah.
Rogan
So I work at On
investor.
It. Joe Rogan, major investor. Yeah, I work out here. It's a supplement and wellness company. If you're unfamiliar, the kind of tagline is total human optimization. So kind of to give you a quick backstory, I moved out here basically as more of like a self exploration more than like a career driven move. Um, there are tons of I used to work at a startup. I was a product project manager, so I felt like if I wanted to or needed to, I could find another startup here to work with and help another company grow, which I was definitely excited and ready to do. But in the back of my mind, I had wanted to start something like a wellness camp. It was kind of inspired by a lot of different things in my life. And then also I heard of Sheryl Sandberg, who's the COO of Facebook. Her husband died while they were on vacation, and I believe it was Mexico, just like had a heart attack and died. Both of them were like extremely successful business people. They had two children they adored, like a really close family, and then he just was gone. And she wrote a book about that called Plan B. Really strong, awesome book. But just one thing that was interesting in there is that she sent her kids to a camp. I forget the name of the camp at this point, but a friend was also telling me about this, where completely free for the kids. It's all donation based, and it's all about like trauma and healing. And so all the kids that are there are all kids that have like one or no parents, and it's all been like a recent. And it's just kind of to show kids that like there's other people like you, help them with inspiration, help them with anything they're going through. And apparently this camp was like super transformative for her kids. So she endorsed it in the book and talked about it. I really loved that. And it was very similar to something that I wanted to start. And so when I moved out here, I quickly realized that Austin is a very spiritual place. It's a very wellness oriented place. It's a very fit city. So it's just kind of a cool place to be if you're into that kind of thing. And I wasn't super into that kind of thing. But I knew I wanted to kind of be in like, I was eating right. I was moving a lot. I like sunshine, like those things. So that was kind of breed like just a healthier type of person, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
And so that's a big part of Austin. And so when I got here and started making friends and started meeting people and was introduced to kind of different folks and different ways of thinking and different backgrounds and things like that, I quickly identified that my goal is my purpose is to open up a wellness facility. A big part of my journey, and maybe we can do another podcast on this if interested, but a big part of my journey has been through the use of psychedelics. And so that's been like I said about my mom passing away being a major trajectory change, psychedelics also changed a ton for me in a really beautiful way. They helped me heal a pretty bad relationship with my dad. And they kind of set my life into a course in other areas that were just like really, really beautiful and really helpful. So plant medicines and psychedelics will be a part of this wellness facility. Things like breath work and meditation and yoga and movement and exercise. Nutrition will be a big part of it. And just kind of an ultimate kind of healing place. All Eastern and holistic approaches,
Yeah.
Nothing that's invasive.
That's the new thing, man. That's what everyone's hopping on board for, man.
It's funny. It's the new thing, and it's the oldest thing in the world. I mean, that's why
people are starting to get away from all these corporations and all
Yeah.
the fucking bullshit they feed us. Well,
Yeah.
literally feed us, but also like implant in your mind. Crazy.
Yeah. So it just, I don't know. You feel healthier when you eat good food, and you feel healthier when you don't, get fucked up all the time. And
I tell people, I say, listen, and I'm not perfect by any means right now, but I'm trying to get there, get better. But
same here.
what I tell people is I'm like, treat your body like a Ferrari or whatever car you want, Are you going to go to Thornton's and put in the freaking shitty, cheap gas? Or are you going to go to Shell and put in the premium, clean shit, It's like, that's my analogy is to my body. So when people ask me, dude, how do you work so much? And how do you do this? I'm like, dude, all day I'm eating like broccoli and carrots and water and like drink anything except water. I mean, I'm drinking a beer right now, but that's a rare, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
Actually,
but that's an important point too. Our bodies are, that's a great analogy, but our bodies are so much more incredible than cars, like down to the atom and energy level, right? But my point is like, you can have a beer if you have all your other kind of ducks in a row and you're doing pretty well. Like, your body's still going to function.
right,
And that's the thing. Like, if you ask people how they're feeling, they'll probably say fine, but your level of fine is so much different based on just like your level of like what you just accepted. If you're just eating junk food all the time and doing and indoors and not getting sunlight or getting fresh air or whatever, in a toxic relationship, whatever, a job you hate, whatever, all those things contribute and they'll just make you unhealthy. And so I know we kind of just went back to that level, but yeah, so that's, yeah, well, obviously I'm passionate about it. That's why I bring all that up, but that's also why I want to start this kind of facility. And so to bring it back in, I identified on it as a potential place where I could learn a tremendous amount.
I'm going to pause
because
pause you for a second.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I said this, I was thinking it. Talking about meditating, dude. I've recently started like I actually was meditating today. That's kind of why I was a little late, and then I got to get food. But I was really tired, so I meditated way longer than normal. Well, I guess it was more of like a meditation / nap, but it was like an hour. Usually it's like 30 minutes. But dude, that's where I got the idea to do this podcast, because I've been wanting to do this podcast.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to do this podcast for a year, but I put it on back order because everything that's going on and whatever. And then I was meditating literally like probably 3 weeks ago now. And literally I get great fucking ideas when I meditate. What I found that I have to do though is when I get them, I have to like snap out of that meditation and write them down, because I've had great ideas that I'm meditating and I'm like, I'll remember this when I get up, and then I forget. So I did that. And the idea that I got was, dude, there's no perfect time to do anything. I've realized that you just got to do shit. So I'm busy running one business. I'm starting another, and might as well fucking start a podcast. So like, you know what I mean? So like, but that all started from meditating. So it's crazy, but yeah, I'll let you go on it thing, but I just wanted to
no, I love that, man. And I'm happy to hear that. And yeah, everyone's journey with meditation will be different, but basically it sounds like it's hitting you in a beautiful, like creative place. It's allowing you to get just quiet everything else so you can focus on answering those questions you want to answer.
Actually, I'm going to say one more thing before I let you go, because I was talking to a different friend about this earlier, and I've been telling a lot of people, like my close friends, I'm like, you got to start meditating. It's good, especially when you're busy. So for me, like, I'm not going to lie, when I got off work today at 6 and then I didn't leave for a little while, I almost texted you to reschedule, but I was like, fuck, I don't want to do that. I don't like to do that. So, because I was just so tired and run down because I stayed up way too late last night gaming, to be honest. But I was like, I'm going to meditate, and usually it fixes things. And dude, I woke up and I was good, you know? So it's crazy. Like, I tell people, I'm like, every day at like after work, I come home and I meditate for like 20 or 30 minutes if I'm lifting after work, because I got a long ass day. I'm on my feet 24/7. I come home, I just breathe, dude. I don't even like, honestly, like probably meditate the right way. I just sit there and YouTube, I type in meditation music and I just fucking.
Man, I mean, you can always learn more about it, but your meditation is your meditation.
Right.
For me, yeah, I love that. And basically, are you like, you are, because you're an athlete. So like this idea of getting in flow. Right.
Dude,
have you ever gotten into flow?
Yeah. Well, actually, what do you mean by that? I don't know if that's like a meditation term. I don't technically know.
No. It's like a life. It's like a life term, but basically, like, so you love, yeah, kind of like the zone. Like when you snowboarded, did you ever get into like the zone?
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, that's where I work out.
Or baseball or any sports. Like for me, it was like basketball and soccer. Like if I got in flow in basketball, you couldn't guard me, and every shot it would go in, and it was like time slows down. Right. You're just like, you're in such a groove. In soccer, I would get into that also kind of constantly. So, and it's addictive. It's like fucking addictive, because again, it's like it's kind of euphoric. Yeah, time slows down. It's euphoric. You're kind of going to your parasympathetic nervous system. So that's like not fight or flight. That would be your sympathetic. So it's like just a very like down regulated, like clean, you can see cleaner, all those things, right? So flow, it sounds like you are just kind of getting yourself into flow, going just using breath work, using music, like getting into a good zone.
Dude, no, that's what I do. And it's wild because I tell people, like, I work with a lot of people, you know, that are just friends that I know that are super busy and stressed. And I tell them, I'm like, I'm telling you, dude, even if it's 10 minutes, take 10 minutes and go lay down. If you can't do that, then fucking quit your job, because that's bullshit. Like, I just don't have to tell my boss. I just do it. Like, that's what I mean. But, yeah, man, it's a real thing.
Beautiful.
Wild.
I love it, man. I love it. I think you're on a really positive journey, man.
Trying.
I think, you are. Like, I'm like talking to you, like, yeah, you're putting yourself in a really good position. So just keep it up.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. You too. But what were you going to say about the whole On It thing? Or, by the way, we've been going for an hour. I'm not in a time limit. I don't know if you are.
I'm not, but I also want to, like, you're trying to start a podcast, so I don't want to, like, go without, you know, go. I want you to have, like, your idea of, like, where you want to.
Dude, I'm just saying, if you're like, I got to be off in 10 minutes, let me know. Otherwise, I'm not.
No.
My last one was 2 hours.
No,
we got time.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
If you want to shut up, let me know and we'll end it. But yeah, we're good. All right, cool.
Okay. But yeah, so On It is basically, so for me, my like I said, I want to build this wellness center. Basically, I want it to be anybody, and I want it to be focused more so on physical, but mostly mental and spiritual health. I've been affected by my family, my friends, myself, mental health. Like, I understand, like, that's the most important thing. And I know way too many people who are depressed. I've been depressed. I know way too many people who are suicidal. I've been suicidal. Like, not just putting those out there, like, oh, I've done it too. Like, I've gone through some pretty tough times. But I'm just really lucky, kind of like we were talking about earlier.
It's mindset, though, bro. Like, I will say, like, it's mindset. Going back, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but because the last
no.
Sorry, what were you gonna say? You're 100% right.
No, go.
Yeah. So, like, I've been in these things too. Like, with that situation I was telling you earlier about, shit was hard, bro. But, like, the way I look at it is, like, I'm never gonna take the easy way out. Like, so you gotta sit, as my friend says, you sit in your shit and you just get over it, you know? And it might take a month, it might take a year, it might take 2 years, it might take 4 months, but, like, you just gotta keep going, and you gotta show up on the days that you don't want to show up, and just move, even if you don't, 100%.
Show up and hard work, man.
Yeah, but even on those days, like, I will not lie, there's been days in this last year that I have shown up, not worked hard, but I shown up. And
yeah,
I mean, I worked, but it was because I was in a place where, like, I had a lot going on that I didn't work hard, but I was there, you know what I mean? So it's like, and then you get back, like, now, like, you're talking about that flow, I'm getting back in the groove. I'm getting back to 10:30. Like, I don't mind working late, because to me, this isn't even work, but, you know what I mean? Like, things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I got you. I kind of want, and like I said, I'm very lucky. I'm the third child out of 3. So I was like a rebel and always trying to get attention. Because I was the last child. Tends to happen that way. But that was kind of how my whole life was. I was always, like, the class clown, and always, like, clearly just crying for fucking attention as a kid. But I'm kind of glad for that, because the kind of that rebelliousness led to me just not accepting the status quo. And so, like, for me, it really started for me was my grandpa died when I was young. He died of cancer. He battled for a long time, and he was okay. But at the end of his life, I remember he was on chemotherapy, and his body just like withered away, And then he died of, like, pneumonia. He didn't even die of the cancer. He died of, like, pneumonia, which are it's called, like, complications of cancer. And pneumonia is one of the easiest ways and most susceptible ways for people to go. But I really felt like the chemo killed him, which it does.
Oh,
all of your immune cells.
You lagged for a second. You said you felt like the chemo killed him, and then I cut out for like a second.
Yeah. So I feel like the chemo killed him, and the reason I when I started to learn about it, like, chemotherapy is just radiation that basically just destroys, like, your entire immune system. And it basically destroys, like, all the cells, hoping that it can target the cancer cells, but that means it also kills off like your immune system, like your white blood cells, and hopes that they'll, you know, regenerate because your cells are unbelievable. But at the same time, like, it's really fucked up, like what it does. But it also knows, like, it's just like blasting your body to get rid of the cancer cells or tumor as well. Possibly will work. It's not even like a proven. It helps people, but it's not 100% perfect, right? It's unfortunate. My point is, I felt like the chemo kind of killed him. Like if he didn't have the chemo, like, yeah, he may still died of cancer, but it would have been years later. So that just created like a healthy skepticism of like healthcare, and like the way things have been moving. And then I have friends and family who've been on SSRIs for years and are still depressed or are still suicidal or have gotten off of it, and I've witnessed the withdrawal of
because that shit makes it worse.
Yeah, man, it's killed me to watch.
It's a business. It's a business.
Yeah, and that's a whole different conversation.
I don't want to dive into that right now.
Yeah, but I get it. So I just had this kind of healthy, probably distaste for the healthcare industry, but also just like I said, that problem solver mindset. And then just all these other things that led me to want to open up this wellness facility. And so the first pillar of kind of the philosophy is nutrition. I believe if you want to change your life overnight, start with your nutrition. Cut out, you know, sugar, cut out, you know, dairy, cut out processed foods and fried foods, all those things. Just start with that, cut out soda. Just start with those things, and I guarantee your headaches will go away, your backache will go away, you'll be able to move better, you'll be able to sleep through the night, you won't snore, like those things. Like, just start there. And if that's all you do, then that's all you do.
Have you checked out Mario's cooking show? Mario Fabry?
I think I've seen like it through the grapevine, but I've never seen it.
Dude, you got to check it out, because this is all the shit he does.
Yeah. And that's what because that's awesome. And we need more people to not only just know it, but know like the reasons as to why these things are happening, because I think that's important. So it sounds like Mario's on that path, which is awesome, because it's like you said, you need people to be leaders in this space to make it happen. And it's funny because all these things are just coming off of like belief systems. These belief systems of what we were taught from our parents' generation and their generation before them. It's like, just I'm lucky that I have. Yeah, I'm lucky that I'm like I said.
Sorry, we keep.
Yeah, it's all good. That's what I mean. It's so I'm a rebel in that sense that I just never accepted authority or the status quo. I used to always challenge teachers in high school and things like that. I used to get into some fucking arguments with teachers because I would be like, hey, I don't know. Like help me out. Teach me. You teach me. You know, don't just tell me a fact. Like teach me as to why. I would always ask why. Probably to my detriment. Probably why I didn't get the best grades, but that's okay. Probably could have worked a little bit harder too.
No,
but yeah. So go ahead.
I was going to say, touching on the whole grades thing, I didn't get good grades in high school either. And to be honest, it's one, I was never pushed to really study. And I relate that to dog training. You got to have a good coach and it becomes easier. But two, I just didn't give a shit about like fucking Christopher Columbus, his name is. Like, I don't care about that. Like, I want to talk about this stuff. So
yeah.
In looking back,
it's funny that you said that, because actually history was like the only thing I did like. So
really?
I know exactly who Christopher Columbus is.
You know, I mean, you know what I'm just saying.
Outside of that, yeah. I know, I'm kidding.
Doesn't matter. Science, whatever. Or I like science too. Whatever. It's the point is, and I relate to Gary Vee when he talks about this, because this is one that hit home for me. I was the same as far as I never got good grades, blah, 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 but I wasn't worried. Like, I'm going to suck at life because I knew that I would do the things that I'm doing now. So now looking back and reflecting on it, it's crazy because it's like, it all makes sense. Like you said about the Rebel. Growing up, might be a dumb example, but all of my friends had iPhone. I had Android. Like, all of my friends said Z. I said F. Like, everyone did this. I did that. Like, everyone was on class on time. I was late. I didn't go. I didn't give a shit how what the teacher said. I didn't do homework. So it's like, it all makes sense to me because it's that rebel mindset of like, and not saying like, I'm a rebel. Yeah. Like it's It's just how you
No,
think.
I think in some case you do have to say that, because the opposite of that is you just do what people tell you to do. Yeah, you just. So I actually am like, yeah, I'm a fucking rebel. Like that's easy. But it's funny that you said it, and this will wrap everything.
Is what I mean.
No, it's not that at all. But I'm saying you have to talk about it and just say that, hey, it's actually good to like be a rebel and not, and maybe that word just is like proselytize, but just to think different and don't just accept what people tell you and try these things out. But yeah, so nutrition is the first layer. The next level is movement. So yoga, meditation, breath work. These are all things of like the physical body. I can teach you very quickly how to fix your posture, how to stretch, how to move, how to run farther, how to breathe better, how to fucking just breathe. Like even just the breath. That's
I'm taking deep breaths while we talk, and it like clears
good.
me up.
Yeah, man. Well, that's the thing. Like I've lived my entire life. I was a fucking Division I athlete, and I didn't know how important our breath was to us and our existence and elevation of the self and of consciousness, etc., until maybe 3-4 years ago, after I was a Division I athlete. And I'm saying that only by saying that I had a lot of great mentors and coaches and people who knew a lot of good shit, but they didn't even know about this stuff. And it's like, it blows my mind. So that's the second layer. The top layer is the mental and spiritual. That level of ego, consciousness, programming, all those things that we talked about, plant medicine, psychedelics, all that's kind of up here. I started it on it in the gym, just being like a gym attendant. Just anywhere I could, just to get my foot in the door, because I knew that they had the best education, at least here in Austin, that I could find, that I felt strongly to or strongly connected to, of that nutrition and the movement. There's world-class philosophy behind their movement practice, their breath work, their just holistic kind of primal movements. And then also, like I said, we're a supplement company. We create foods, we have supplements, nootropics, things for your body, things for you, just to help you, like I said, total human optimization. So I joined this company to kind of jump on this ride, to figure out how I can learn as much as I could. And it's actually funny that you mentioned Gary Vee, because that's another reason that I wanted to come to Austin. I came to Austin because I had a couple different thought leaders, Tim Ferriss, Aubrey Marcus, and a guy named JP Sears. Those were three people that I knew. Tim Ferriss was in San Francisco for the longest time and moved to Austin. Aubrey Marcus is the CEO of a company called On It and had a podcast that I was listening to. And JP Spears was actually on Aubrey's podcast one time. He's a comedian and just a really funny dude. You've probably seen some of his YouTube videos. That's what he's most known for. But those three people were in Austin, and I said, I want to get into their orbit, which was odd. It'd be like going to New York and being like, I'm going to know Gary Vee. Like, I'm going to work for him or work with him. I'm going to be on his podcast, whatever. That's what I kind of set this intention out for. Because Tim Ferriss changed my life with his podcast and his books, just because he brought on some people who had some unbelievable ideas and some unbelievable experiences that I learned an incredible amount from. And so, funny enough, like I said, one of the other podcasts I listened to was Aubrey Marcus, his podcast. Aubrey is the CEO of On It, the company that I just started to work for, right? Within the first week of working at On It, guess who walked through the door? Tim Ferriss. Last week, I shook hands with Gary Vee.
That's crazy.
I met JP Sears. Like, I'm not saying all these things like, oh, look at me. My point is, I fucking made this shit happen. I came to a place not only where I can now get into the orbit of these people, and not in a egotistical way, I want mine. It's really more in the sense of, I want to learn from them. I want to get close to them. I want to provide value for them so that they can eventually help me in growing the areas that I want to grow. And I put myself in a place to do that, but also talk to some of the brightest, best minds on that nutrition and movement level. And so it's been a beautiful course where I get to serve the people and the community of On It as much as I can, and with the areas that I know best, which again, I can work really hard and do the things you need, but I can also help elevate your team and things like that. But also in return, I get to just I'm getting paid to learn and then eventually apply all these things that I'm learning and start my wellness facility. So it's pretty cool how it's all coming together.
That's crazy. Gary's the man, but that's wild. Yeah, no, dude,
Yeah.
you need to check out. Have you heard of the book called The Third Door?
I've heard of it. I haven't read it.
Bro, read it. So Mario and Matt Fine actually know this guy. So when I was in LA last year, Mario told me to check out this book, and I read it, dude. Crazy shit. But you would love it because it talks about pretty much what you did was essentially the third door. So the third door talks about like there's three doors to everything in life. So there's the front door, which is where the population goes. We'll use a bar as an example, or the club. There's a front door where there's a line that everyone waits to get in. Okay. And then there's the VIP. So those are the two doors. You have the front door where everyone waits, and then you have the VIP where you get right in. Or there's the thing called the third door, which means you might go to the back of the alley and sneak in the exit. You might fucking break in the kitchen window. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a third door. And it talks about how in life, he goes and he interviews, dude, literally Bill Gates, all the biggest people, and he uses a third door to get into it. So it's like what you were saying. It'd be like if you went up to Gary, if that was him in this situation, he would say, gone up to Gary and asked him to interview him, or like a crazy situation. But you know, he moved here, he used the Aubrey dude to get to like, and not using, I don't mean like that, but it's it's interesting. And he talks about how all these successful people like Spielberg, how he got into act or film. He went to what is it Universal?
He impersonated that he worked there when he was like 13, 14 years old.
Right. And then, but do you know what happened after that? So then he impersonated work there, and finally he got called out, and I'm just summarizing the story, but he gets called out by the guy. The guy gave him like a free month pass, and he gets called out at like a month or two later, and he's like, what the fuck? Why are you still here? And he tells him why. And then he's like, dude, I appreciate your grit kind of thing. I'm going to make me a 30-minute film. And he makes him this film, comes back, is the best thing ever, shows it to he calls up his boss and says, you got to check this out. The guy's like, you're fucking crazy. I got like 16 hours of work in front of me right now. And he's like, no, you need to check this out right now. This is the best shit. And that's how Spielberg got started. So it's all these experiences, but it's crazy because that's like kind of what you did in a way. I mean,
but I want to make a distinctive point though, and you alluded to it, but I never said I want to get into their orbit, like I said, on the egotistical side, where it's like, okay, I have a goal and I'm going to use them to get to my goal. That was never the point. And I know you know that, but I want to clarify. You made a point earlier that's very important, and I wholeheartedly agree with it, that we have to serve others before we can get served.
Yeah. No, for
we
sure.
have to give in order to receive. We have to give a lot. Yeah. And so like that's the reason I know that I'm successful, is because I know the value of giving. Right. And I know that I'll do things for free that other people would never do, because I know if I do it for free now and I work my fucking ass off and do an amazing job, which I know I can do, then eventually it's going to come around and I'm going to get opportunities. And that's how this whole thing has gone. I basically, like I said, I took an entry level role into this company, and I worked my ass off every day. But I also made the most of those opportunities, like we talked about earlier. People that I knew within the company and in the community that were people that I knew I could learn a lot from. I basically approached them just asking for mentorship and nothing else. Not only that, but I would also help whatever you need. But if you need help with something, I taught myself how to cut my own hair when I was in college. So then I started cutting other people's hair. I cut people's hair out here, like, trade you, a walk where we just talk for a haircut, some shit like that. Like have value, provide value to people, serve people, and then it'll come back to you, as opposed to, maniacally trying to take from them and not give them back. Cause that's not how you do it, bro. It's not how you do good business, and that's not how you get ahead in life.
But that's what most people do, and it's crazy. I talk about this in other podcasts too, and it'll be probably on every podcast. But it's like how people just take. Like an example I talked about in the last one was I'm training this girl's dog, and I charged her like $500. Dude, it should be. I didn't realize what I was getting into. I didn't know this dog wants to like kill other dogs, and like I didn't sign up to train this aggressive dog. I thought I was just doing obedience. But I'm so glad that I gave her the huge $1,000 discount that I did. I don't do that to anyone, but I just felt like it was the right thing to do because she was a college student, blah, blah, blah. She had a lot of shit going on. So, fuck it, I did it. And now I've trained the most aggressive dog that I have ever dealt with. I know how to do it. And it's
Yep.
crazy. It's wild. But like you said about giving, it's like, I'm the same way. Like, I don't give a fuck about the money, dude, to be honest. Like, yeah, I want to make money, but it's not about that. It's about helping others, because in the end of the day, money's like, whatever, dude.
You're going to make, yeah, but, and you do it well enough and you help enough people, the money will just be it'll be a side process that comes in because of it.
Like just
Because
today,
you're not doing it for the money, you're doing it for the rest. And then if you do it well enough, dude, if you're the best dog trainer in town, you're going to make your money.
that's what I'm
100%.
saying. I mean, just today I
Yep.
got tipped $200. Like, I wasn't
Yep.
expecting that, but it's like, this happens a lot now. So it's, you know, you're doing something right, but how do you do that? You build value. And that's what people don't understand. People are just like, Stern, I want your ideas. It's like, that's not how life works. Like, you see me, I reach out to people, I help people all the time. And some people, they don't say this to me, but they're like, why the fuck does this guy want to help me? He doesn't even know me. And it's, I just want to help you. And actually, speaking of that, dude, I met this chick at the airport in Mexico, and she's in Austin, dude. I should, I'll tell you about her. I'll text you her shit. She's dope. I'm gonna try and get her on here, but she's huge into yoga, and her husband, you still into the whole like guitar thing, right? You like that kind of, like, I know you usually like Dave Matthews, right? I'm assuming.
Music. Yeah.
I don't know what kind of stuff he does, but like, I know her husband's like big into that. So
I live in the live music capital of the world, and that's part of the reason I moved out here.
oh, I didn't know that was the live music capital of the world. That's cool. That's
Yep.
cool. Well, I'll send you that
Austin,
shit
Texas, baby.
because she's got a bunch of crazy cool stuff and YouTube videos too. So yeah, but anyways,
Yeah.
got sidetracked. But yeah, just helping out. Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like, I helped her out. You know, she helps me out. Like, trying to get her on this podcast, and it's just like, it's crazy, man. Like, even where this is, like, I didn't even know we were going to talk about, to be honest. Most people I know what we're going to talk about, I usually prepare. Today I was tired. I'm like, fuck it, I'm meditating, but it's going, you know, it's going good. So yeah, man.
Yeah.
People out. And that's the thing. We live in such a take, mine, where it's like, if you just step back and just give a little bit, it comes back. I'm a firm believer of it comes back in like at least 10 times greater.
And you know, it's interesting. I went through this, and maybe we'll wrap this thought up, and then we can either move on or close up soon. But I was just thinking about like the most successful people in the world in terms of like money, like the richest people in the world, and how when you can have like everything. And I was actually thinking about like Bill Gates is like good. You already brought him up. He was one of the people I was thinking of. Like he at one point he was the richest person alive, and what's one of the largest charities in the world for like foundations? It's the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, right? And so I know obviously one of the reasons he started it is it was, you know, he was in some kind of legal trouble and whatnot, and they wanted to break up Microsoft. So he started doing a lot of philanthropy. But my point is he's one of the biggest philanthropists in the world right now with his wife, and they made like malaria almost non-existent and extinct and things like that. But my point is you can make it as the number one richest person in the world, and the only thing left to do at that point is to give, right? Just to start a charity, to start putting money into a university or whatever. The Rockefeller, like all these people. Well, it's the coolest shit, but it's also, my point is like, if it takes people to get to the top to realize all that there really is out of like the only fulfillment there really is, because when you get all the money in the world, if it was always about the money, then there's never enough money. There's never enough cars, never enough houses. There's always gonna be something better. You're always gonna be comparing. My point is, at the end of that, the only thing that makes you feel good as a person is to give to others. And it's like, why waste that entire time and all that money and all that shit if you can just start giving now, and then you can get that feedback.
No, I agree, man. And it's crazy because I'm the same way. Like, I'm not like rich or anything by any means right now, but it's cool to help people. Like, to me, you know, like you're saying, like, one of the guys I do business with, I just found out he takes abused and neglected kids between the ages of 6 to 11 on like a week-long retreat, and they treat them with like royalty to show them that, like, cause got like taken away from their family because they're like the adults are like felons or OD'd or like crazy shit. And it was cool. I mean, that's not cool, but I'm saying it was cool. I didn't know he did this. Yeah. And it's
amazing.
I told myself, like, last night I wrote this down. I said, you know, I don't know what my business will do, but if it was to do well and I have extra money, I told myself I want to help him like pay for this retreat. Cause that's like dope to me, man. You know what I mean? Like I never
Mm-hmm.
had anyone like really help me like that, but, my family.
That's admirable. That's admirable, dude. For the longest time, I wanted to start like an actual company that had like products, and I always wanted to do it like the Tom's way, or like the Warby Parker way, where it's like buy one, give one.
Right.
I know that whatever I do, it's gonna be a for profit, but there's gonna be a non for profit like side to it.
Same, bro.
That actually just is devoted to helping like people. And I think, yeah, dude, dogs is a great area to do that with.
In my
Because there's a lot of areas.
Yeah, there is. But in my online business, I haven't figured it out yet because there's a lot of like logistics, but I want to do something like that where it's like X percentage of sales goes to something. But the thing is with me is I'm very weird on where my money goes because I don't like huge charities, certain ones, because I know what the truth behind them. So,
yeah, but there's still, I'm big. Like, trust me, if you look hard enough or ask enough, there are worthy places to give money to.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sure there's good, you know, but I'm saying I want to like almost start my own kind of thing. So I know like that it's actually going to where I want it to and not in someone's pocket, you know. I haven't done much.
That's fair.
But that's like,
you know what you should do? You should meditate on it.
Good idea, dude. No, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know like I said like X percentage of sales went to this and then I didn't touch that, whatever. I got to figure it out. But yeah, dude. Cool.
I like it, man. Like I said, noble cause.
Yeah. All right. What else? I know we touched on a few other things. I'm looking at my phone because I think we texted about this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking real quick. Dude, you said when we were talking, you said letting go of control. What did you mean by that? Like what we were talking about, like what you can't control?
Kind of the same stuff as we were talking about, like the universe. Like let go of that need for the control of certain things.
Got you. Cool. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so, man. I think we covered a lot of ground.
No, we did cover a lot.
Pretty motivational conversation, man. I'm really, like I said, I think it's really cool that you and I have, like, you know, we were here and then we kind of split ways for a while, and now we're clearly connecting again for a reason. But it's just cool. Yeah, it's just really cool where you are, and look, I would love to help you in any way I can, whether it's getting this message out there, helping with the podcast, or with the business, man. Like I said, that's an area that I have. I wouldn't call it expertise by any means, but I have a lot of knowledge in.
As far as what?
Just like
I didn't know you meant by, you said the area. I didn't know what area you were talking about.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll be more specific. So, like planning or like building a business and getting certain things like in a row, and whether it's on marketing side or sales side or organizational side. Yeah. So I just wanted to just put that out there. So if you need it, even if it's just like bouncing ideas off each other, or the other thing that I know that I got to experience when I was in college, I was president of a business fraternity. That was like a pivotal thing in my life. Phi Gamma Nu. In my junior year, I was president of the business fraternity, and during the turnover reports of the previous president, kind of giving me, I had like the keys to the car, I used to call it, telling me everything I needed to know. One of the things that he left me with, he's like, once you're at the top, there's no one above you to congratulate you when things go right or to tell you when things go wrong. When things go wrong, everyone below you is going to let you know it. But when you're at the top, like, there's definitely not going to be anyone that's going to like tell you great job. But there's also, if there's no one above you and you're not really going to look down at the people working for you or with you, et cetera, and just vent or complain about your shit, right? So you kind of need someone else. So it's like this idea of, hey, call me, like the previous president. I'll be graduated at this point, but whatever. Give me a call whenever you need me, just to either vent or to strategize, or for me to tell you like, good job. So I want to offer that up to you, because I know what it's like when you're kind of doing everything yourself and trying to do all your shit. It always helps to have people there to help, or guide, or at least just, you know, vent and get some shit out to. So I'd be happy to.
I appreciate that a lot, man. I respect that a lot, because I'm the same kind of way. Like, people don't always take me up on it, but I'm the same, because I know how it is. Like you said, man, like I do everything I'm doing, and I haven't even, I mean, I've done a lot, but as far as like results. I haven't, financially got them
Mm-hmm.
yet, but I'm saying like in the end of the day, I relate to that a lot, man. Like it's a lot of it is for yourself. Like you're doing it because you say you can do it, or you want to prove this wrong, or you want to do that. Like in the end of the day, it's not like every day I get patted on the back. Like, good job, buddy. Good
Mm-hmm.
job for getting all this fucking online shit done. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I'm doing this day in and day out for me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I connect with I mean, shit, I didn't even know you were up to all this stuff, but like Mario and a couple other people, like the girl Jillian and Matt Fine, like, we all
Mm-hmm.
talk, and it's cool talking to like-minded people. So I respect that.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck, I was going to say something, dude. And then I got on a tangent because of that. We were talking about,
Man, that's awesome though.
You know what I want to do? I just thought of this. We should get a podcast with like you, me, Jeremy, and maybe like a couple of the baseball crew, dude. That'd be fun.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
that would be fun.
But
Well, it's Jeremy just moved to Austin.
oh, did he? I didn't
Yep.
know.
So I've been seeing him a bunch lately, which is pretty cool. So we could definitely make that happen.
Dude, you have to tell him about this because I was going to reach out to him, and I haven't talked to him for a while. I've asked him a couple questions.
He would like this conversation, so we'll send it to him.
Oh yeah, I know he will. Yeah, Jeremy's the man.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I took him to a Packers Bears game a few years back. But like,
I love it. Yeah, I just love the team, man. That was a beautiful group of people.
But see, and for people who don't know, like Jeremy, who started Spot Hero, which you've probably heard of or use, that was our baseball coach and very good friend. I since don't talk to him as much as you do, or even maybe Kevin, but our other friend. But we were all like homies, and he was older than us, and he was like our mentor.
We were on the B team.
Yeah, we were on the
B team. We were really good baseball players that
we weren't
probably
good
could have played on. Yeah, but talk about the chip on your shoulder, man, and all that stuff. But we were a really good baseball team, and we had a assistant coach who was about 6 or so years older, and he kind of was like a big brother to us.
Yeah.
And so
between him and then other coaches and stuff, and just the team aspect of it, it really helped.
The parents got along and were very supportive, and yeah, it was a cool couple of years of us.
But even how you
we
literally became like brothers. But like you said though, that's what I was gonna get to, is the fact that I haven't even talked to you for probably like 4 or 5, 6 years, man. But like, still, like deep down at the core of things, like you're still the homie, because like to me, like I don't forget about shit like that. So, I mean, granted, yeah, it's like I've thought about you a long time for a lot, but when we come back,
but we can.
Even when I see Kevin, it's still like we're homies, And then one other thing I wanted to talk about was your other little dilemma you had, because touching back to early in the podcast, we were talking about not letting things bother you, and you said your bike tire got stolen the other day.
Yeah.
So most people would freak out and they would let it ruin their whole day, and maybe you did or not, I don't know, but it sounds like what you posted on Instagram that you didn't. And that's a thing that I'm a big advocate of too. And then I was telling like my friend, one of my dog trainer friends, I was like, listen, you got to just relax. People are pissed. People hate their life. They have all these issues, and they might take it out on you. But in the end of the day, just be that bigger person and just like let it go. You might be late for something. It might fuck up your whole day. I'm not saying like be all jolly and happy, but if you learn to like not really, just like you said, let it go, it just, you're at peace with it, kind of, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And you pretty much nailed it. And yeah, look, did it suck? Like,
oh yeah, for sure.
Like I came down and I couldn't go anywhere because my front tire was gone. But there's so much to it. Like, I guess I knew the risks involved. I never parked my bike for too long. It just was like a random occurrence, and it just happened. And then it just happened to be that some asshole was walking by and stole it. But worse things have happened and could happen. I just gotten to the point where I've kind of trained myself not to let things like that get to me, because I know what it's like when you let even little things like blow you up and change your state and whatnot. And so for me, it's like, I'm definitely, I'm not happy about it. I'm not excited about it, but it's like, just worse things could happen. I'm going to try to not let that happen again. And look, if something worse did happen, then I'd much rather get upset about that than a fucking bike tire getting stolen,
Right.
or whatever. So it just happens to be a kind of mindset thing. Like I said, you can't control what you can't control. I can't control that somebody walked around and wanted to steal my bike that day and settled because I had a great fucking bike lock in the back, but the front one was open, so they took that instead. Yeah, I can't control that, but I can control where I lock my bike, when I ride it, all that stuff. And that's just using the bike as the example, but it's the same thing with everything else. Like,
but that applies. That applies to everything.
It applies to everything. That's what I think about. Like, so I used to, and I still do to some degree. I used to walk to and from work when I was living in Chicago. And when I moved down to Old Town Chicago, and I used to work in River North, and that was about a 30-minute walk, which was like perfect. One, I was working at Starbucks, so I didn't make a lot of money, so I just didn't want to get a bus pass. Two, I started working in the summertime, so I was like this would be a beautiful stroll in the morning through Old Town, which is in River North, which are beautiful parts of the city. And then I ended up walking through the not so great parts, but just stay vigilant and you can do okay. But yeah, so I did that, and then we eventually moved to the Loop, and we moved over a weekend. And on that Monday, I just never had like a contingency plan. And so I walked to work again, and it was an hour, and I was like, okay. So I walked home, and that day I was like, okay, I could do this. Because it just like gets my blood pumping. While I'm at work, when I get to work, I'm like ready to fire and ready to work. And then coming home, it was great because I hated going on the CTA or driving in a car. It just felt too stuffy. Everybody's depressed. Everyone's looking at their phones. Like, it's just like it was not a good environment. And I had like the urge to want to talk or have fresh air or whatever after being in an office all day. So I didn't like that. So walking was all of those things. And I could listen to podcasts or audiobooks and learn while I was doing it. I was like, wow, this is a great deal. But my point is, that's an hour walk. So you kind of have to budget your time, right? In order before you leave, or it's the same thing if you were driving a car like that, you have to budget time to get to work or whatever it may be. And there'd be some days where I'd be running late, whether I slept in or I was working out in the morning or I ate a breakfast or whatever. I was just fucking around, and instead of budgeting an hour, I only had 45 minutes to get to work. So I'm fucking speed walking through work, and I'm agitated and I'm, aggressive, and I'm like getting pissed off. But it's like, if you're ever driving somewhere and you're late, you get pissed off at all like the red lights, and you get pissed off at all the people that cut you off more so than you would otherwise. But you're the fucking reason that you're late in the first place. Right. I'm the reason that I was 45 minutes given for a walk than an hour, right? I put myself in those positions. So you could easily blindly go through life and get pissed off at all the red lights and all the people that jump in your way and all that bullshit. Or you could budget your time the correct amount of time. And yeah, if things happen on your way there, like, okay, at least you did the things that you needed to do, and you got an X and you got a speeding ticket or whatever. But like, if you put yourself in the position that you're going to be late. So in my case, I left my bike in a public place for 3 hours when I shouldn't have. I got my fucking tire stolen, and great. I hope that guy really needed the money and sold my tire and made some good money and is now living a healthy, happy life. Doubt that's the case, but hey, a guy can dream. And I already said this, if I find the guy, I'm going to fucking kill him. So that's the other part. It's like, I can still have this mindset, but if I find a guy walking around with my tire, I'm going to take the tire, I'm going to beat him with it, I'm going to walk away with my tire. Probably sold by this point, so it's probably not going to happen. But so that's my word out to all the people. But yeah, it's really just like, I'm saving my freakouts for when real shit happens, right. When somebody dies, when someone gets hurt, when someone's sick, when there's a crisis, when, whatever. I'm going to save my shit for then, and not when some petty shit gets stolen or whatever.
And then another thing I'll say, building on that, I was talking about this with Wade over the weekend because we were going out, and I was talking about, going to the bars and all these idiots like trying to fight. And I said, dude,
yeah,
a thing that I've taught myself though is like, I'm like, dude, imagine if someone comes up to us and starts like talking shit, and I just look at him like I'm looking at you, and just don't say anything, or just like be very calm.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's not going to get the answer he wants. And then I told him, like, listen, and especially nowadays, like, I never want to be the one to start a fight because you're going to get sued or some bullshit. So if you're just calm like this and the guy comes after you, then you can go back. But if you don't get bothered, like we were out this weekend and there's these people's like trying to fight and the girlfriend's holding them back and she's like, fuck you, get out. Like these people look like idiots. And it's like, if you were just to sit there when some guy's in your face talking smack and you're just like, you know, chilling, like that's going to do more. It's going to piss them off more than you talking shit, to be honest. But my point is learn to, you know, you learn to kind of keep yourself calm in any situation.
You learn about your ego very easily when you get into this, when you get into meditation, you get into all this stuff, and that's all ego. And I think that's been big for me is understanding my ego, and that's not the enemy, and I'm not trying to kill it, but the ego is only meant for you to survive. It's not meant for your happiness. It's not meant for anything else. And so, it's only meant for you to survive. So it's an old piece of software, our brain. It's a very old software, and it's wired for us to survive. It's not wired for happiness, but we are lucky enough to be at a point now where we can work fulfilling jobs and build meaningful relationships and go after things that we want to go after. We can move across the country and try to start a life. You can try to start a business. You can do all these things. And obviously this is all saying I'm very lucky in the position that I'm in, and I'm grateful for everything that I have. I'm grateful I don't have other major responsibilities, families, wife, kids, things. I know that's not to say that I don't have responsibilities. I do. I do have a family. I do have a moral sense and a code that I live by and a standard that I apply for. I'm not just going to be a bum and not make an impact on the world before I die. Like, I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to try to do something big and try to impact people in a positive way. So
no, I like that.
It's not to say I don't have those things, but that's why I'm going after my dreams and trying to do these things, because that's how that's like you said earlier, and we could probably wrap up on this. Like I like to apply the Jeff Bezos regret minimization model, which is you just basically envision yourself on your deathbed, 80, 90, 100 years old, whatever you think you are. And you look back at your life, and the idea is you want to have as little regrets as possible.
Dude, it's crazy.
And that's what happened. That's why he started Amazon. He was working on. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's it. So it's like, apply that model and just, I want to have like no regrets. And I know it's like a funny fucking thing to say, but it's like, all right, I want to have as little regrets as possible. Like, I want to look back and say, I went after that girl. I went after that job. I went after my dream. I tried it. I failed. I was scared. I was lonely. I was vulnerable. I was happy. I was excited. I was loving it. I was doing everything. Like I want that whole everything.
You want to ride that
so that when I'm on that deathbed, I can look back and I can smile
and be like, damn, that was good.
Yeah.
No, dude, I love that.
And let go and just, so.
And just go. Dude, I fucking love that, and we'll end on that. But two things I want to say. One, it's crazy you said that, because I was going to say that. No joke. For me, it's like, I forgot what led us to that point, but you were talking about everything, and I was going to be like, I want to be like, when I'm 80 or 90, I don't want to regret anything. So the fact that I'm younger and like working a lot of people like shit on me, like, dude, you work too much. I'm like, dude, I'm working a lot now so I can live how I want to live in a few years or 10, 20 years. So to me, I'm not going to regret it. You know, I'm doing what I want to do, what I told myself I was going to do. And as I reflect on my life, even a year or two ago, I tell myself things and I follow through with them. I tell myself I wanted to develop more as a person. I've done that. I told myself I want to start a business. I'm doing that. So there's other things that have happened too. So it's crazy. Another thing, and then we can wrap this up.
Man.
Another thing that's interesting is talking about how things happen for a reason. Now, we were talking about all these, you know, us wanting to do cool things, whatever. And as we were doing that, it was 11/11. So I was just like, I think that's interesting, dude. It's like, as you're talking about not regretting anything and doing shit we want to do and cool stuff, I look at the clock and it's 11/11, man. So like, to me, that's a sign. You know, to other people,
bro,
you're fucking weird. But to me, you know, that's crazy. But cool, man.
Fun to be weird.
Hey, I love it. I embrace it. And that's the thing, dude. I'll feel like friends too. And like one of my good friends, she's like, you're weird. I'm like, I know I am. And I fucking love it. And then they have nothing to say. You know, I embrace it.
And all right, we'll really end it on the last point is, like you said, and I've done the same thing. the people who judge you for going after your dreams or trying to be your true self, like, fuck those people, get them out of your life. Like,
I mean, hey,
that's
man.
like, and that's what you're talking about. Like, yeah, your friend might be calling you weird, but hopefully it's coming from a good place. Like you said, you've had to get it rid. Because if you just have those toxic people who exist and just tell you you're not good enough, you shouldn't do something, or just put negative thoughts and energy into your field, it's like, then you're never going to get out of that point. So that's why I say, like, it's fun to be weird. Like find people that will let you embrace that and love you for that and be excited for you without thinking that it's going to come at their cost or them not being able to achieve something. And so,
No, I love that, man. It's all about, you know, who you're, like you said, you, like, part of the reason you're probably even where you are is because you've surrounded yourself and been with Jeremy, right? Like, same thing with me and my mentors. I also get mentored, if you don't know, by like the Millionaire Mentor on Instagram, Jason Stone. I've never even met him in person yet, but this guy's fucking changed my life. And it's, you know, about who you put yourself around with, because you got to learn, you know, and like-minded people. So that's why I'm doing this, man. I want to get connected with like, look, we got reconnected, you know, like, I want to be connected with people who think like me. I don't want to be like, I don't do that whole party scene. I don't do a lot of these things anymore. So like, there's not a lot of people out there that like to fucking talk. Like, I genuinely like talking about this shit. Like, if I never make a cent on this podcast, I might get tired of it eventually. I don't know, but I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it to, like, I like talking about this. I like hearing new ideas. Like, I'm going to check out this book, you know, like, there's things, you know, and then people listening, crazy shit, bro. Crazy shit. We'll definitely have to do another one. But any last things you want to say? Because then I'm going to ask you a couple questions and then we'll get out of here. Unless you have anything to say.
No.
Okay, so I ask everyone a question. I say, if you were 18 years old and we were standing at GBN's graduation ceremony, what is something, if you could go back, what is something you would tell yourself now, or excuse me, then, when you're 18, that you learned at this point in your life?
Trust the journey, and that I will reconnect with my mom.
Okay. So, you're saying, you mean like,
I can elaborate, but otherwise, yeah, that's what I would tell them.
Okay. So like, you're talking about like spirituality shit, because
yeah,
we could talk about that maybe next time, unless you want to talk about that now. It's up to you.
Oh, well, all I'll say is this, like, I believe in like the spirit. Like, I believe everybody has a spirit. I don't think that's that outlandish to say. We do say the Father, the Ghost, and the Holy Spirit, right? But I really believe in that. Like, and I believe in it mostly because my mom was a special education and preschool teacher. She was a lovely woman. She made a huge impact on a lot of people. But my mom was sick from the time she was born until the time she died. She died when she was 49. It was her second time having cancer. She had cancer for the first time. She had Hodgkin's lymphoma when she was 20 years old and almost died. And then had 29 extra years and had three brothers and got to raise kids and make an impact on more and more children in that time. But she was always sick or whatever. But my point is, she had this broken, unhealthy body, but she still, like,
dude, she
made such an impact.
Yeah,
she was such an impact. Yeah, made such an impact on so many people. So I look at that and I'm like, look, imagine what could happen if she's not hindered by that broken body.
Right.
The spirit touched so many people, and imagine if there's no more broken body. Now the spirit can just, like, do its thing.
I got you.
So it's been really cool for me because I've come to understand that, like, she's one of the main reasons that I'm in Austin. Like, she's guided me here.
Right.
As crazy as that might sound, like, if you just believe, I choose to believe in that because to me, it's more of a beautiful thing. Like you said, your grandparents, like, helped kind of protect you in that car. Like, I believe in that. Like, dude, I wholeheartedly believe that. And yeah, so I believe that she's one of the reasons that I'm here and is guiding me on this path to help as many people as possible, because that was kind of the journey that she was on. So I just feel very connected to her now. And that's my point is when you're young and you lose a parent, you can very easily feel like it's over, like they're gone, like you'll never see them again, you'll never hug them again. You get sad about the times that you won't have them in your life and all that. And there's a reason for that, and that should happen, and that's how big of an impact someone had in your life. But at the same time, like, I would like to tell that 18-year-old who is a year out from losing his mom, like, just like know that you're still like connected to her. Not only that, but you're going to get even more connected to her than you are now.
No, yeah,
which is crazy.
No, but honestly, I think that is crazy, but in a good way, not like a crazy way.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is, so recently, dude, actually shit. Yeah. So recently a good friend of mine from college, she was coming back from her boyfriend's in this pass called Molas Pass. It's one of the most dangerous passes in the US. It's in Southern Colorado. And she rolled off the mountain, dude, like crazy shit. I don't know if I have a video. I might have a video. If I do, I'll send you it. But it's
wow.
It's crazy shit. And I relate to this because this happened to me, right? But I didn't roll off a mountain. She rolled off the mountain and survived. She was in the cold at like 5 or 6 a.m. for an hour before a truck driver or someone found her. But anyways, going into the spirit thing, man, this made me think of something. That deer that was in the road when I almost hit it, okay? Looking back and analyzing it, I'm like, how the fuck did I not hit that deer, dude? There was no sign of that deer ever. So getting spiritual, sometimes I ask myself, I'm like, could that have been my grandmother doing this? Because, dude, keep in mind, I flipped my car 85 miles an hour. I wasn't wearing a seatbelt.
You should be dead.
I should be dead. The driver's side roof caved in. I ended up in the passenger side, okay? Because I didn't have my seatbelt on. I didn't hit this deer and whatever. So I asked myself, I'm like, was there even a deer there? Like, could that have been my grandparents, dude? So it's the same. It's the same to me. That's kind of the same.
Trippy question, Jimmy. Trippy question.
I mean,
bro.
I don't know if that's too
it.
far for people to think of, but for
no,
me, like,
well, it is. But it's a fun question to think about.
But no, but that I didn't touch on that. So it goes to what you were saying about how you're in Austin. And what I'm saying is, for me, I'm not saying that happened. That was the cause. But what I'm saying is, to me, that was the last piece of them that left me. Okay. So she physically left me. My grandfather passed away 8 years or 10 years before that. She left. And the last piece of her in my life that was gone, besides our business, but was their car that they had given to me. So, and what I'm saying, why this has crossed my mind is through, as I've learned more spirituality and talked to people, like even like what you're saying about your mom. And what's crazy is, to me, the why behind what I just said was to make an impact in this world. And for me, I think that is through helping others, whether it's on the podcast or businesses or whatever, and training their dogs. So now, like for me, I have a clear I know why I'm here in my mind. So, but that didn't just happen. That happened because of that accident. So that's what I asked myself. That might be crazy for people to think about, but I think about shit like that.
I love it.
Crazy shit.
I love it.
But yeah, wild. Cool, man. Well, I think we crushed that. That was almost 2 hours. So that was good.
Dope. Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. I look forward to our next conversation for sure.
Yeah, definitely, man. Cool. So thanks for watching, guys. I'm Jimmy C, the Instapreneur podcast, and thanks for coming on, Ryan. Oh, you know what? One thing I'll say, dude, did you want to leave your Instagram or anything on here? Or no?
Grumps Malone on Instagram.
Grumps Malone on Instagram if you want to follow.
Grumps Malone.
Cool shit, and I'll put it in the bio. Cool, man. Well, yeah. So we're gonna sign off here, but thanks for tuning in, guys.